Hello champions and future champions, hello Chessmood family, GM Gabuzyan is here with you and let's begin our daily lesson. In this position is white to move. Before going into explanation, I will ask you, pause the video please and try to find the best continuation for white in this position. Today we continue the topic of typical exchange sacrifices. Move here is rook e6, but white is playing very strong ex-world champion Tal Mikhail, who was very well known because of his nice sacrificing style. And now we're seeing very strong positional sacrifice with very deep ideas behind. We are taking on e6. After f takes d6, let's evaluate what's happening. We lost our exchange, but managed to double up pawns very close to opponent's king, the central ones. Now, the rook on e8 is blocked because of these pawns. Black is losing all of the options to get positions in the center because these doubled pawns will be very much attacked through the open e-file. We are getting bishop pair advantage. There is no longer a pawn on f7 and king's pawn chain is now weakened as well. One more attempt to summarize what has happened. We lost our exchange but gained so much benefits instead. And for this reason, it's a really very well working idea. Let's now see how game continued. White is going queen e2, trying to take on e6 with a check, attacking the pawns with a tempo. If black is now playing knight f8, protecting e6, they are getting super passive position. As well, previously I've hidden on a purpose one more benefit of rook e6 positional sacrifice. I offer you to pause the video and think how white can continue here. I didn't mention when black is getting doubled pawns on e6 and e7, we are getting outpost on e5 for our pieces. No of black pawns can go d6 or f6 and remove knight or bishop from the square. White here plays bishop f4, followed by rook a1. We're going to use this outpost, get really strong piece over there, and for example, whenever we're putting our knight on e5, with the pawns on e7, e6 and our knight, we're blocking options of black queen, rook, to get to the king side. Now we can be starting a pawn push with h4, h5, sometimes we can go g3, king g2 and bring the rook from the h file. That's why instead of rook e1 we're playing bishop f4. We are occupying this outpost and starting a strong game on the king side. And that's the reason as well, after queen e2, in the game black is not going for passive knight f8, but tried to drop the pawn back and is playing e5. How to continue here, as white is my next question to you. You can pause the video and try to think about this. We can be taking the pawn and it sounds great, but after d5, black can try to play something like knight b6 and prevent our bishop from getting to this diagonal, which will be very annoying for black. That's why, after e5, white's beginning with bishop c4 check, and only after king h8, taking on e5. Now, e6 move is not working. Black's queen is under a pin. If black here goes bishop c7, white is making very nice maneuver, even though it's not the best and there are many good moves, for example rook e1, bringing it into the game. White played here bishop f7, rook f8 and now e6. Why do I like it so much? When we're creating bishop and pawn like this, near to opponent king, again, it's very much preventing other pieces' participation in the defense. Now, if we somehow manage to give a check from h4 square, it's gonna be a checkmate. And we're not really far away from this idea. Just imagine we go at some point knight h4, take on g6, and our queen will be really good to go to h4 square. This is our very dangerous idea. On top of this, now our bishop is protected with e6 pawn, and we're threatening to take on e7. That's why black now goes knight to f6, protecting the pawn And again, I offer you to pause the video and try to continue this attack for white. White is doing the idea we discussed previously, going for queen c4, bringing the queen to the h4 square. It's happening now queen a5, and here I would like to highlight very simple moment. White is playing rook e1. Even though I can never say what is this rook doing right now except of supporting knight e5 advancement, bringing all the pieces into the attack is a very strong concept. On my own, I learned it from the book of Mikhail Tal, when, during one of his attacks, he is describing: just bring your pieces. As many you have, as stronger your attack is becoming. Even though if you are unsure how to use that piece right at the moment, if it's closer to opponent's king, suddenly, with some interesting tactical options, it may be activated. This time, rook e1 is having some concrete purpose of playing knight d5, but in general, it's a very strong move. Queen d5, and now queen h4 is happening. As we discussed, white is threatening to go knight d5, and knight g6 will be a checkmate. Black cannot be removing the knight because e7 pawn will be lost, and that's why here black decided to go rook takes f7, trying to give back the exchange and somehow defend on the king side. Even though taking the rook is a great decision, we have something stronger in this position. You can pause the video and try to find it. Here white is playing knight e5, a wonderful move. Black can be running away with the rook now, can be taking on e6, and let's take a look what's happening. If black is playing queen e6, we continue knight g6 check, winning the queen. After knight e5, if black goes rook f8 move, we can play knight g6 check. And after king g8, we are winning the queen with knight e7. Turns out that after knight e5, black cannot be saving this rook. It has happened here knight h5, but after knight f7, king g8 and bishop e7 moves, white is winning the second pawn. As well, black king's position is absolutely destroyed. Later on, white is winning in this game. All of this has happened because of the beginning rook e6 positional sacrifice, spoiling opponent's pawn and getting a great game through the e-file. Now, let's go ahead and see another example in this topic. This time, it's black to move, and I offer you to pause the video and think how to continue. If we take a look at white pieces, they are staying nice, pressure to the long diagonal, rooks are trying to play through the c-file, but all of them are super far from the king side, and typical exchange sacrifice with rook e3 move is happening here. After pawn takes and queen e7, we are having a very strong game. Again, doubled pawn. Even though we're not having outpost here because of d3 pawn, we're getting different benefits instead. Queen e3, supported by knight g4, is going to be super dangerous for white king. Now our bishop is very well participating in this attack. We can bring rook to the e-file, and because white pieces are super far away, it's gonna be a really nice game. After knight f3, black decided not to play queen e3 check, followed by knight g4. What is the reason? I offer you to pause the video and try to find it. Black here is not taking, because after king h1 and knight g4, white's having bishop d4 move, protecting this diagonal, and now we are having difficulties with our further threats. That's the reason here, after knight f3, black's beginning with knight g4 move, ignoring the fact pawn on g7 is hanging. And after bishop d4, now we're getting c5 move, removing this bishop. If here white is deciding to take on g7, black is winning instantly. You can pause the video and try to find this continuation. We play queen e3 check, and after king h1 having very typical mating pattern. knight f2 check, king g1, knight h3 check, and when white king goes back to h1, we are playing queen g1, sealing white king on h1 square, and after white is taking back with the knight or the rook, it's the same. We are mating with knight f2. In this beautiful way, black is winning in this game. Let me remind you that this was part 3 of typical exchange sacrifices in different positions. And if you haven't seen yet, I recommend you to check out previous 2 daily lessons as well. Now, let's go ahead to the next position, which will be your homework. It's white to move now, and we have something very similar to Tal's game. I offer you to share your thoughts and ideas, whether it's a good decision to sacrifice here at the exchange or it's not. You can share your thoughts in the comments section below. Gabuzyan was here with you. Thank you for your subscriptions, likes, and sharing this video with your friends. We appreciate it a lot. See you next time during our next daily lessons.